Ciao friends, my name is Joey. Welcome to my channel. I was so happy to get my dollar bead box and my dollar bead bag in the mail today. It's been a really long day and I need some beads. I need some beading therapy today. So I'm going to do a pretty quick unboxing because when I opened this, I knew exactly what I wanted to make. It's a design that I kind of had in my head, and I love it when the bead companies that I work with and that I love so much are, on the same page with me as if we communicated, but we haven't. But anyway, they've kind of filled the supply list for a design that I had in my head. So I'm really excited to make these. And I just love the little write-up, the May 2025, I can't talk, dollar bead box is curated, and it's mostly check glass, and I've been getting it for years, even before I was on YouTube. They don't normally name it or anything like that, but they put a little poem here by E.W. Teal. All things seem possible in May. It's the full-blown spring month, and it's just wonderful. Also, when you get your insert, if you get the dollar bead box, there is a special code and a special discount on a thing on their website. And I love this little website because once you are a member, anything that you liked in your box or your bag, these strands here are the supplement, the dollar bead bag, which is only $8 a month. But anything you see, you can go back on the website and you can purchase more for $1. So $1 a strand, $1 for the quantities that you see here. And I love their check glass buttons. They have a great supply of check glass buttons, and I keep my stash replenished with the Dollar Bead Club website. It's just a really sweet website. So I do have a dollar bead bag here as well, and these are all check fire polish. So this is the dollar bead bag, and I'll just say here that I do have a discount code. I'll put that in the description box and a link to the Dollar Bead Club. And also, if you are really not interested in getting something monthly, but you would like to have access to this website, you can pay an annual fee. It's very reasonable, and then that makes you a member just the same as if you are, signed up for the monthly thing. And so if you're one of my American viewers, then you're probably familiar with like Costco. It's a price club, and you do pay annual membership fee, but then you get amazing prices on things all year long, and that's the premise for the Dollar Bead Club. So let's do the dollar bead bag first. I'm going to stop talking. There is always 8 strands in the dollar bead bag. 4 of them are 3mm and 4 of them are 4mm, and I just love check glass faceted rounds. I just love fire polish beads, so I am always so thrilled to get this. So my first 3mm strand is, you would either have received a I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong size. I was looking at the 4mm. The 3mm, everybody got teal. So I just love that. That's going in my first project, so I'm going to set that aside. The second 3mm strand, you would either have received an aqua that is half copper, or a matte copper, and clearly I got the aqua that's half copper. So beautiful. And the third strand, you would either receive matte teal or matte dark cyan, and clearly I got the matte teal. And the last 3mm strand, you would have either received a beige opal that's half copper as well, or a matte crystal copper, and I clearly got the beige opal. I realize that it's a small bead, but if you look where there is no copper, you can see the opalescent color in that. It's just so beautiful. And then the why does it say opaque chartreuse on my list? Just right in the middle it says opaque chartreuse, and I don't see anything here that would even match that description. Okay, I'm sorry, I was trying to give you guys a rundown, but I don't know what that is. Anyway, the first 4mm strand, you would either receive baby blue or aqua half copper, and maybe I got the baby blue with the aqua with the half copper. or you would get aqua and half copper. I think mine's baby blue. And the next one, you would either receive a turquoise vega or a matte Aegean blue vitriol, and I got the matte Aegean blue vitriol. Each bead has its own little color story and a little bit of different movement than the other beads. I love that. And then this one, I am totally not sure which one I got. You would either get a vintage brown luster or a topaz vintage silver. I see a silver wash on this, so I'm actually not sure which one I got, and there's no other strand in the box with that color name, so I can't compare it. But I'm gonna guess that I got the vintage brown luster. I'm gonna guess that's what I got. And then the last 4mm strand, you would either get a honey crystal. You would get a honey crystal with blue. And it's really a cool strand. The blue is kind of showing up unexpectedly. There's a little bit in the beads, kind of unexpectedly. That is beautiful and so denim friendly. I just love that. That is really, really pretty. Okay, that is our dollar bead bag for the month of May 2025. And now we'll do the strands that are in the bead box. So if you want to sign up for this, you can just get the bead box, and if you want to add on the $8 a month for the bead bag, you can do that. So let's do this one now. I do want to save this one because that is going in my project. I'm sorry, you guys, I got a phone call and it was really distracting. Like I said, it's been a day. There's a lot going on. So let's do the strands for the May 2025 dollar bead box. One of my favorite check glass beads is the first on the list. It is the Lucerna bicone. It's a 6mm, and you would have either gotten the teal or the light teal. I believe that I got the teal. I'm pretty sure that this is the true teal color because this one is teal and they match exactly. So you might know that is going in my first project. And this is wonderful. This is a 6mm check glass pearl, and you would either get teal or white satin. Clearly I got teal again. That is also going in my first project. And then I got a sweet email from Mary, the founder of Dollar Bead Club, about this strand of beads. So if you do get this box, it says 3mm check fire polish in the color crystal. Clearly this is not a fire polish bead. This is a druck. A druck is a smooth round bead that does not have facets or fluting or table cutting. And it's beautiful, and I actually love this. It is, as I said, 3mm. There's 50 pieces here. But if you want a crystal check fire polish bead, it is available on the website. So it would be this color, but the faceted round. So, but I love what I got. It's so pretty. I think I'm going to set this one aside because that is not going in my first project, but this one is. I love this. This is a 6mm check glass melon bead, and I love the one that I got. You would either get an aqua with a gold wash, which is what I got. How stunning is that? Or you would have gotten the crystal aqua gold. I love this one, and I am gonna, like I said, it's almost like they knew what was in my head for a design, because I want to do gold, a gold thing with seed beads and with a diamond cut gold filled jump ring. Some of you already know what my favorite supplies are because I use them a lot, but that's going to be part of my first project. And then this is so cool. I love it when we get 5mm check fire polish beads, and there's 25 pieces here of beige Picasso. And I don't know, I love a 6mm bead. For me, that is a sweet spot, because if I'm making something really chunky, a 6mm bead becomes my spacer. And if I'm making something more petite, the 6mm is my basic bead, and that's really the scale of jewelry. But of course, a 5mm is like a little bit smaller than that, and I just think they're so sweet. I just love that. And then I am crazy about this one. This is a 4mm check glass pearl, and there were two colors that might have come in your box, either bone or golden sand, and clearly I got the golden sand. I absolutely love this color with the turquoise and teal. I think that is so beautiful. This has a very beachy vibe, like the color of driftwood, and then these are like, it's just really beautiful. I don't know if, I never really know what the filming is doing to the bead, but what I'm seeing with my eye is an amazing luster. I mean, check glass is amazing. Pearls and beads and pressed glass, they're just amazing. But isn't that a gorgeous little bead? I am not sure if I'm going to use that in my stringing. I know these are for sure. And then there we have our additional items that are in the box, and these are really cool. This colorway is called Mixed Picasso. There's 4 pieces. It's a check glass tabular rectangle. It's a rectangle and very geometric, but it has very soft edges, and each bead, they almost look like stone because the glass is so varied. Every bead has a little different color story. This one even has almost like a little lavender or purple in it. It really kind of mimics a gemstone, but it is glass. How beautiful is that? And then it's so cool that Dollar Bead Club still has some tiara cast, and they are still putting it in our box. Look at this beautiful tiara cast butterfly. He's 2-sided. He has a little bit of weight to it. The quality that tiara cast is missed, and it's just so nice to get a little piece. I did hear a rumor, if anybody knows, leave me a message in the comments, but I did hear a rumor that the company was sold or bought or something and may be coming back. I don't know if that's true. It's just a rumor. It's a jewelry rumor. So if any of you have heard anything or know where I can find out, leave me a message in the comments. I'd love to see what's out, what's being said out there. So I only heard it from one person who's in the jewelry community. I don't know if it's true, but wouldn't that be great? And then we got 6 pieces of an 8mm check glass scallop, and it is blue with seafoam green. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, I just love these. I am a lifelong Floridian, so we wear this kind of jewelry and make this kind of jewelry all year long. And when I did sell my jewelry in shops, I did a lot of things with beads like this, and the quality is just beautiful because I sold on Anna Maria Island and Venice Beach, and where visitors come to enjoy the ocean. And but I just love that. I don't want to put them down. They're so sweet. And then this is so cool. We got a set of cabochons. There is 2 there's one 16mm check glass cabochon. Clearly it's turquoise with gold. And then we got coordinating ones in 14mm. And so one of the things on my bucket list is to hone my skills on bezeling stones. And so these have a flat side, and bezeling, what I mean by that, if you're not a seed beader, is doing it with seed beads and needle and thread, and like framing them and capturing the cabochon to either make earrings or a pendant or a ring. I mean, this is the perfect size to bezel and do a ring. I'm actually working on one that my friend Gail was helping me with, and I need to finish it. But if that is not your thing, and you get these cabochons, I happen to have a filigree piece here. This is just a flat filigree, and you can always take some E6000 glue and you can mount your cabochon in the middle, and then you can either use like a fine gauge wire to weave some beads around, or once it's set, you can make a pendant out of it. And so if you're not a bead weaver and you want an idea with cabochons, a little filigree piece is a really nice way to go. Really easy and fun. Okay, on to the next. We got an 8mm check glass melon. I love this. With a gold wash. And so these are 6mm, and here is the 8mm. And I actually love the 2 sizes. I don't know if I'm going to use that when I start stringing, but I'm going to leave them there because that could happen. That has a great possibility. I actually love it when we get the same bead in different sizes. It just gives you a lot of design possibilities. So that's why I put those over there. And then we got a 14mm 2-piece check glass Star of Ishtar, and it's white alabaster silver with a gold wash. So what I love about this is you really do see the gold and silver in it. And if you're watching Jewelry Trends, it started last year and it's going on through 2025 to mix gold and silver. So when you have a bead that has the colorway and both things happening, you can put in your metals, you know, in gold and silver, and it's just really elegant and so beautiful. I love those. And then we got these little, I love these. I really love these. I need a pair of earrings out of these. I've never seen these. I don't know if I've been in a cave or under a rock, but these are gorgeous. These are check glass flat ovals in an opaque beige. That's a little tongue twister. And there's 6 pieces here. I wish you guys could feel these. They're so smooth and the edges are so soft. They are just wonderful. And like for me, I think that I would like to have just a slim piece of wire with a loop that goes right into this little drop, and even a second pair of earrings where this is hanging from a little chain and just suspended by a chain for an earring. I love these. This is classic, timeless elegance. This is pop in your ear every day, and I really love these, and I really do wish you guys could feel them. They are so soft and smooth. I mean, they are just wonderful. I love this. I really love these, and they have a little different, very little variation in the color. You have to look closely because it's not a big bead, but oh my goodness, how much do I love these? They're so fun. Okay, stop playing with the beads, Joey, and move along. You have things to do. You have things to make. So next up, we got these little drop charms. And these are wonderful. These, you know, make great charms on a bracelet if you need it. But if you sell jewelry at like fairs, craft fairs, or even on a website, and you just need some stock, you can make really fast, beautiful earrings with these charms. They're just beautiful, simple and beautiful. I love those. And then we got in an opaque beige, we got 12 pieces of this 8mm check glass corrugated rondelle. I love rondelles. These are, you know, like puffy ones, but for me, this is like in the disc family, and there's just something so fun about stacking them. And there's a lot of texture because it's corrugated, but this colorway is, again, almost looks like it is a gemstone because it's so varied and just beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. And then we got 2 17mm opaque beige with turquoise wash little dragonfly beads, and I just love this really beautiful colorway. I love a table cut bead. I actually love a coin bead too, and so one of these little guys is going to go in my project. And then we got a bumblebee. Isn't he cute? He's a check glass bumblebee, and he is turquoise with a copper wash. You can really see the imprint. It's two-sided. I love the oval shape. It just reminds me of cameos when anything is oval, and even that size is just so beautiful. I just love him. He's beautiful. Okay, I toyed with putting him in my project, but I'm leaning towards this little guy. Okay, let me put away the things that are not getting used, and I am going to get some supplies out for what I plan to do here. I have to make a few components. I have to string some beads. I have to get out some spacers. So it'll just be a second for you, and I will be right back. Okay, I've cut open all my strands except for this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. I think I might. I'll tell you why. But I did cut open the teal strand that's crystal and made these little circle components. I make these a lot. If you've been here a few times, you might have seen I use them in different ways, but I'm going to use these in a way that I have never used them before, and I'll show you how. For newer people who have never seen me do that, I keep my soft flex. This is actually not the 49 strand. This is the 19 strand 925 sterling silver, and as you can see, it's a really small piece because I keep a scrap bag of all my soft flex wire for exactly things like this. You can do so much with even your scraps, so I don't throw anything away. So this little pattern is 3 of these check glass rounds. If I can get them on there, it's a little tricky stringing because it's so it's a scrap, so you know, you can't really clamp off one end. But in my seed bead tray, I love beading from these little trays. I have, actually before I start, let me show you what I have. These are 11 O's, these are 8 O's, and these are 6 O's, and I'll show you exactly what they are. Just a craft store item. These are Toho seed beads in the 3 sizes, and that's what I'm using. I just keep these in my stash, and these are perma finish galvanized, so that means that the gold will stay shiny and it doesn't rub off very easily. I mean, maybe over years and years of wear, but it really makes your pieces last. So back to my stringing, I'm going to do 3 of my check glass faceted rounds, an 11O seed bead, and then 3 more rounds, an 11O seed bead, until I have 12 check glass beads all total on this little scrap of wire. Okay, so there is 12 faceted rounds in 4 sections, but only 3 11O seed beads. And to complete the pattern, what's going to replace my last seed bead is a number 2 crimp tube. So I'm going to put that on one end of my wire, and then from the opposite direction string the other end of the wire. Let me get my fingers out of the way. So I'm going to pull that number 2 crimp tube right down to my ring. And a number 2 crimp tube, when it is crimped with a magical crimping plier, really is almost indistinguishable from an 11O seed bead. They are 2mm beads, so that is why this is a 2mm crimp tube. So I'm going to use my magical crimping plier. When you make these little circle components, when you first do your stringing and pull your 2 ends, this ring is nice and tight, but the tool has to have space to get in here. You have to work your way around your beads. I do this with all kinds of beads. I do it with pearls, with seed beads, as you can see, check glass faceted rounds, but the tool needs a little space, so it does spread out your ring. But before I close down, I just pull both ends really tight. I can see that my crimp tube is not exactly in the center there. I felt it go in. It really needs to be in the center of the tool, and I'm going to give this a pull with my left hand and close the tool with my right hand. And so I've just created a little square with 4 pinched corners, and now I have to fit that tool back in the opposite direction. And it's like riding a bicycle with this tool. When you feel what it feels like to be in the center, you'll always get it right. And I have it. And I'm just close down in that direction and then just go around, just kind of moving my ring forwards and backwards. And it's just making that crimp tube into a perfect little round bead. And as I said, it looks exactly like the seed beads, so it's like an infinity ring. It really is magical. And I'm going to get in here as close as I possibly can and trim those tails so that really you can't tell. And then these are ready. This will be like one of my last steps, but I have 3 of them, and I have this diamond cut gold filled jump ring, really heavy gauge, really nice and sturdy. And then I've just stacked a little turquoise disc. I have these really fancy flower head pins, which I thought was kind of metaphorical, my little dragonfly sitting on a flower. And I am going to make a simple loop here with this. Just bend this wire and take my round nose pliers and come in there and wrap it over the top. Rotate. When I make my simple loops by hand and not use my one-step looper, it almost looks like I'm about to wrap that loop, but when I get it to that point, I take my round nose plier away and snip this wire right where it meets itself. And oops, my cutter didn't quite get in there. To the bead is in the way. That little bead. There, I got it. And then I'm just going to tidy up that loop, close it really well, work hard in it, make sure it's nice and neat, and my coin charm is ready for the end. So now I'm going to save these. In fact, I'm not going to save these. I'm going to cut these open because I am going to do a set of 3 bracelets, and I'm just going to cut these open because I want to do a set of 3 that are coordinating, since all these colors are so beautiful together, and we have the melon beads, the Lucerna bicones, and the check glass pearls. It's just a beautiful combination. But let me pick up one of these. The Lucerna bicone strand was by far the longest strand that was here, but it is not a bracelet length. So I'm going to have to do my trick, which is why you saw all these seed beads, of creating bead patterns and getting my length, extending the length of these 3 strands with spacing them out with seed beads and maybe even this strand. I have a few of these left that I made the rings out of, but I think I might switch to this one. And I'm going to make these stretch bracelets. So I am using my really small stretch cord. It's the smallest that I had in my stash. It's a 0.7 millimeter diameter. I can link this in the description box of the video. And I just went to this because of the pearls, basically. Pearls, even glass pearls, have notoriously small holes, and I don't want to struggle with my stringing. So I am pre-stretching my cord. If you've never done a stretch bracelet, that really helps it to last. And the other thing is, I am going to make these bracelets larger than I think that I need. I'm going to, get some length in there, because when they're all clustered together and I have to pull them over my hand, I don't want to stress my bracelet too much. So let me get 3 little clamps from my craft cart, and I am just going to start playing with my bead patterns. I'm kind of give you an idea what I'm doing here, and then I'm going to pause the camera and just do this off camera. I find this part of my jewelry art extremely relaxing, and there's something about the camera rolling that does kind of take that away. I feel the stress of time and of dead air and of, just, it's a funny thing filming yourself doing your work. It's a really funny thing. So I am going to start with the pearls, which I think is going to be my middle strand. So I'm going to start with one of my 6/0 seed beads and a pearl. I'm just going to create patterns here that will, what do I want to say? That will coordinate, dotted with gold, and of course get my length. So I do need some length on this, and I just have to determine if that's going to be too much gold and not enough pearls, but I rather like it. I am a gold girl, so I almost can't say that I ever see that there's too much gold in a design. I really love it. So let me do a little bit more and see how I feel about it. Okay, I'm going to pause on that pattern and go to my next one and kind of get an idea, because I think I want to make this the middle strand of my 3. So I think on my Lucerna bicones, I'm going to do a simple, straightforward pattern of a bicone, a seed bead, a bicone, because it was my longest strand. So let's see if I can get the length that I need doing it this way. Oh, that is so pretty. And look at it next to the one with the heavier gold presents. I really love that. Okay, so I'm going to go for this pattern, for this one, and I'm going to pause on this one and kind of work out a pattern with my fluted melon beads. See what, make a little pile here, and let's see what we can do with the melon beads on my 3rd strand. Okay, I'm really happy with my patterns. They are simple, but they are lovely, and they alternate the turquoise colors with the gold. So I'm going to just pause the camera and string all 3 of these patterns and see if I can get the length that I need for all 3 bracelets to be the same and be a little bit larger than my wrist size, just so when I stretch it over my wrist, I don't put too much stress on the stack of bracelets. So just be a second for you. I'm going to string, string, string. Okay, you guys, I've got all 3 of my strands done, and I have some beads left, and I am sitting here thinking, wouldn't that make a beautiful pair of earrings? So I see earrings in my future. I do have a few more of these, but I could also do it with these matte ones that are in my stringing pattern. That would be really pretty. So I think I see earrings in my future. I had one of my Lucerna bicones left over, 2 of the 6mm fluted beads, and quite a few pearls. So after I finish my bracelet project, I might be making some earrings. I am going to go to my knotted portion now, but since I have closed off my ring components here, before I close off this ring, all 3 of these have to go over my strand, and respectively each one before I knot it off. So it looks a little funny, I admit, but I think it's going to be beautiful. So I often do this figure 8 knot when I'm doing stretch bracelets. It's really strong, but it does make a little bit larger knot, and I'm not going to get crazy doing anything fancy. I'm going to make sure I pre-stretch this a little bit, and I'm just going to do a few overhand knots in opposite directions, and I think doing that I'll be able to pull the knot inside this 6/0 seed bead. So I'm just going to do a couple of overhand knots, and I have my GS Hypo Cement off to the side. Beadalon also makes a really good beader's glue. I'm going to use the GS Hypo Cement, and I'm going to come this way and do like left over right, right over left, and just do it a few times, and then I'll put some glue in and tie those, tighten those knots again, and then pull it inside. As I mentioned, that 6/0 seed bead. I wear 7-inch bracelet, and when you're doing a closure on a bracelet, it can be 7 1/4, 7 1/2, but at 7 inches, I would have to really pull this stretch cord out to get this over my wrist, over my hand. So I did these a little bit larger to kind of cut down on some of the stress of taking it on and off. I just find it's a little trick that makes my stretch cord bracelets last a little bit longer. So I'm just going to separate everything, use this precision tip to get a little dollop of glue all over that knot, top and bottom. You do have to get this tip back in pretty quickly because the glue keeps flowing, and mine is a mess. Everybody's GS Hypo cement seems to become a mess. And then I'm just going to try to slip that knot inside with the glue inside this 6/0 seed bead. There it goes. There, I got it right inside. And I'm going to come right here and trim my 2 ends and let that glue set up a little bit while I do the other ones. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for all 3 strands. Do my Lucerna bicone next. Before I knot it off, it has to go inside all my rings. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this strand and on my last strand, and then I'll show you how I plan to finish this off. Okay, this is beautiful. I will not stretch it over my arm until my glue has had a chance to sit up a little bit, set up, but I am going to go ahead and put my final embellishment on. I'm going to open this jump ring and slip it over all 3 of my rings and add my dragonfly to that and close it really well. This is such a fun design. This was rattling around in my head, as I said, and Dollar Bead Club just like knew what I wanted to make. Look how stunning that is. The little beaded rings make this wonderful component. I had originally designed this, I sketched this in my sketchbook actually, and I had originally designed it to be a group of jump rings here and then clustered with another jump ring. But when I saw this box, I thought, oh my, those beaded rings will just be absolutely perfect for that. So I'm gonna put some pictures up at the end of the video. As I said early on, don't forget to check the description box for my discount code and the links to Dollar Bead Box and Dollar Bead Bag. And also don't forget you can join the club for an annual fee and shop the website. Everything is $1 then, so you become a member either by paying the annual fee or by subscribing to the Dollar Bead Box. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.